it's Krystal Everdeen, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this mock neck halter top. Over the years, I've gotten so many requests to do this design, and I've finally seen this design at Forever 21, which means that this is a pretty dang popular design, so I'm finally going to make a tutorial on it. And if you're new to my channel, I post crochet related videos every other Sunday, and I have so many other crochet tutorials ranging from beginner friendly to a little bit less beginner friendly. If you find that this tutorial is a little bit too fast for you, I would highly suggest to watch some of my more beginner friendly videos first and then maybe come back to this one. Alrighty then, let's get started. For this project, I'm using size 4 yarn from the brand Loops and Threads, as well as a size 5mm hook. And the first thing that you're going to do is grab your white yarn and create a slip knot. And after you've created your slip knot, you are going to chain a chain that is long enough to wrap from one end of your rib cage to the other, essentially from here to here. So once you've chained a chain that is long enough to wrap around from that point to that point, then you're going to go back on that chain with a double crochet. Now a double crochet is yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through the last 2 loops. Again, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. So that's what a double crochet is. Again, if you're unfamiliar with these stitches or new to crochet or may need a refresher, I do have a crocheting for beginners video that I will link in the description box below. I also wanted to let you know that if you do not want to use double crochet for this halter top, you do not have to. You could also use single crochet. I just chose not to use single crochet because last time I made a halter top that was single crochet, it was pretty stiff and uncomfortable. So that's why I went with double crochet, although it does have these spaces in between that are quite noticeable. So I'm definitely going to have to wear something under when I wear this crochet top. Luckily, I'm literally just going to wear it for the video and then I'm just going to unravel it. And I know that you guys hate when I say that I'm going to unravel a project, but hey, I gotta reuse the yarn for other tutorials. Alrighty then, so after you have gone into the very last stitch of the row with your double crochets, then the project should look something like this, just one row of double crochet. And after you have reached this point, you are simply going to chain 1, flip the project over, and then create another row of double crochet on top of the first row of double crochet that you already completed. And just make sure that you go into every single stitch as you normally would for any regular rectangular project. But again, we are going to keep it rectangular for now, so that chain 1 at the end of each row, plus going into every single stitch, including the very first stitch at the end of the row, is very important to keep it rectangular and even. And that's all you have to do for the next couple of rows. And you may be asking, well, how many rows do I have to do? And my answer is, it depends. Everything about this tutorial depends on your body type and what size you want to make it, your preferences. So make as many rows as you would like. This portion of the halter top is this section right here. So if you want to make this top a bikini top, then you only make a couple rows of double crochet like this. If you want it to be a longer top like mine, then you make more. This portion is again the square portion that's covering your torso. We're not quite at the point where we're going to make it slant yet. Again, this is just the square portion at the bottom of the halter top that's going to be covering everything underneath your breasts. So again, if you want a lot of your rib cage and your stomach to be covered, then make however many rows it takes for it to be covered. Again, just put it against underneath your breasts and then see where it lines up. And once you're happy with the coverage, then you are done with this portion of the project and ready to move on to the next step. So I'm just going to complete a couple more rows here because again, I did want a little bit more coverage with this halter top, and I'm done. Okay, so now that I've completed the square portion of the halter top, I'm going to now make the slant portion of the halter top, and in order to do that, at the end of each row we're still going to chain one and then go into the very first stitch of the new row. However, we are going to skip the second stitch of every row and then just go into the third one. So again, you're just going to skip the second stitch of every new row at the end of the row, and little by little it's going to slant the project. So instead of it being nice and straight and square, it's going to be more triangular, and that's exactly what you want for this project because we are making a halter top. So it needs to get smaller and smaller as you go, and by skipping a stitch in every row, you're decreasing the number of stitches per row, essentially making it smaller and smaller. So again, at the end of each row, you're going to chain one, flip the project over, go into the very first stitch, but then skip over that second stitch and go right into the third stitch. And then after that, you're going to just continue with the row as you normally would. Again, double crochet the whole way, all the way to the very last stitch. And then once you reach the end of that row, then you're going to flip the project over, chain one, and then go into the very first stitch, skip over that second stitch, and then continue on into the third stitch and do the rest of the row. Now again, little by little you're going to notice that it's going to start curving inward, which is exactly what you want. You may not actually see it curving for the first couple of rows, but after you keep going, the change will be much more significant. As you can see here, you could definitely tell where we started to skip that stitch because the bottom portion is square and then the top portion is slanting inward. But yeah, you're just going to continue with that pattern until you put the project against yourself and you like the way it fits. So eventually your halter top should look something like this. The top of the halter top should be just large enough to wrap around your neck. If you're wondering what that movement is, it is my dog, Roscoe. He likes to be near me when I am crocheting. Hey, Roscoe. Oop, accidentally poked you in the eye, but sorry about that. Okay, anyway, back to the halter top. So this is what your halter top should look like once you're nearing the end, or once you are done with the actual halter top and you're ready to make the straps / the mock neck. So again, in order for you to figure out when you're done, you just put the project against yourself, and once you're happy with the fit, then it's time to make the straps. So from one end of the project, you're going to chain a chain of about 70 chains. I chain 70. That's just what it takes to wrap around my neck and then some. That way I could actually like tie it together. Don't just make barely enough chains so it could wrap around your neck, because you also need to tie it. So yeah, I normally make 70 chains for neck straps. And then I go back on that strap with a slip stitch just to make it a little bit thicker, because I noticed that when I would make straps that was just a chain, it would dig into my skin and it would actually hurt a lot. So that's why I like slip stitching into the stitch as well. So I'm going to slip stitch into the strap I just made until I reach the actual halter top. And once I reach the actual halter top, I'm actually going to create single crochets inside of those double crochets, and I'm going to single crochet my way all the way over to the other side so I can make the other strap. And I'm going to make the other strap the exact same way. So once I'm actually at that point, I'm going to chain 70 chains, and after I've chained 70 chains, I'm going to go back on that chain with a slip stitch. However, I'm not going to go all the way. This time I'm going to do something different with this little section of the strap right here, as well as the same section but on the opposite side with the first strap that we made, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but from this point to this point is where we're going to be making the mock neck. So wrap the straps against your neck and mark out from which point to which point you want your mock neck to start and end. And once you've marked those stitches, then you're just going to be working in between those two stitches in between those two markers. So I'm just going to single crochet my way over to the other side. So down the strap that I just made, and then once I have reached the actual halter top, I'm just going to create some more single crochets on top of the single crochets that I already made. And yeah, so from here I'm going to continue single crocheting, and once I have single crocheted all across the top portion of the halter top, then I'm going to start working on the strap, the very first strap that I made, the one that we slip stitched all the way down. We're just going to make a row of single crochet and it's going to be fine. It's going to look even on both sides, no worries. So yeah, so now I've made my way over to this strap and I'm just going to single crochet within it. And I'm going to only single crochet up to the point that I marked. So again, in order to indicate where you need to put your markers, just wrap the straps around your neck as though you're actually wearing the top, and then figure out where you want your mock neck to be. And then once you have marked the both ends of the mock neck, then you're just going to create the mock neck by going back and forth in between those two stitches. And then once you put the project against yourself and you're happy with the size of your mock neck, then you don't have to crochet any more rows of single crochet. For me, I only crocheted probably like 4 or 5 rows of single crochet. I didn't want the mock neck to be a turtleneck. Plus, it's not like my neck's that big anyway. Again, it's going to be different for everyone, depending on the size of your neck, the length of your neck, your preference. Totally up to you. I only made, again, a couple rows of single crochet here just to create that high neck design. And after I was done with the mock neck, then I was almost done with everything. So I ripped off the yarn from the yarn ball because I was too lazy to go and get my scissors, but I detached it from the yarn ball and then I reattached it to the bottom section of the halter top to create my back strap, and I just attached it to the end of the bottom of the top and then chain a chain of about 80. I really don't even keep track of how many chains I do. I just make it and then I figure, oh, you know, that looks good. So then I stop and then I go back on it with a slip stitch, and then I do the exact same thing to the other side. And you may wonder, well, if you don't keep track of how many chains you make for the strap, how are the straps going to be even? And my answer is they usually are not even though I try to make them as even as possible. I just chain, and then I grab the first strap that I made and then I measure it against the second strap that I made. I'm like, yeah, close enough. And that's how I do things. But if you want to actually keep track of how many chains you made so both your straps can be even, then you go ahead and do that. But yeah, so after you make your back straps, then you're completely done crocheting this mock neck halter top. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you found it interesting, entertaining, or helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. And also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye!